Welcome back to Salty Sunshine. I'm your host, Lisa. Happy October. Happy spooky season. I took my dog for a walk and it was so funny. There was these two skeletons, one really large, and as we got closer, the skeleton started to talk and my dog absolutely lost her shit. She started barking and freaking out. It was so funny and I love it. All the Halloween decorations, the dogs don't approve, but it's really cute. She's wearing her Halloween scarf, so she should be feeling more Halloweeny, but it's they're dogs. So it's so funny. I love Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. It's so fun. The decor, the costumes, the candy, it's all so good. Yeah, I love it. Um Diddy was sentenced to 4 years and like a few months, like 50 months or something. It's underwhelming. I'm not surprised because they dropped they dropped all the charges except for prostitution. So he was only convicted of that. So how many years are you going to get for that, honestly? So the other charges that were huge, he would have got a lot more, but those were dropped. Um yeah, 4 years. It's basically prostitution, domestic violence is what was shown, and he wasn't even on trial for domestic violence. So they tried to get him on racketeering, all that, and they just came to the conclusion everybody was willing, adult, um, compensated, and on board with it. So I have a mixed feeling about stuff like this. He's obviously abusive mentally, emotionally, as a human, as a guy. But also, I think when women, obviously, if you're young, Cassidy was young, but she also grew up and she never stopped taking money from him. So I have mixed feelings about when you were perfectly okay with that lifestyle, taking all the money and all this stuff. And when you left, you took even more money. I just don't, when there's money involved, I don't trust the the characters of the people. 4 years, he'll probably be out in under 2. I don't know, I guess that's how sometimes it works. He sent a message. He's humbled and broken to his core and that he'll do better, all this stuff. Do I believe that? Absolutely not. This guy has been this way all his life. He's an older guy already and usually they don't change. Usually people like that, the minute he gets his groove back and he's back to normal and out of there, he'll be right back to, I mean, he'll probably not do the same thing so he doesn't go back to jail, but at the core, he's probably going to be the same type of person. He's already served 12 months and so that goes against his sentence, which is another thing that's so weird. Just because they're in jail while they're going through trial, they shouldn't get credit for that. But so that's on Diddy. His kids look a mess. I feel like, I don't know. Obviously, they knew a lot about what was going on, and they're all probably just really damaged by the whole lifestyle and everything they've seen. Um, yeah, it doesn't look like they come out and say, well, we're really disappointed or anything like that. Just look like spoiled brats. So I don't have a lot of hope for that family. Selena Gomez got married. Congrats, Selena. She looked really pretty. She's obviously on Ozempic. Who isn't? Everyone's on Ozempic. It's like so crazy. I don't care if you're on it or not. It's just like anything else. You have to be honest about it because we can see it. So it's not like it's hidden and we're digging for information. It's right in front of us. Selena is looking back to the way she used to look. You could see such a difference between like the Murders in the Building show from last season to this season. She's a completely different person. And her dress was gorgeous. There's not much to say about it because they didn't show too much information, but she got married and looked amazing. Also, Alexis Bellino and John Jansen got married. Everyone's losing their mind on they're just, critiquing them and they're like, I thought they broke up. I can't believe they went through with it. I think she's lying, which that happens a lot. I wonder because she did get alimony from her ex-husband, Jim Bellino. And do you think they did the ceremony and no legality? I'm sure it'll come out because all these TMZ people are always monitoring like the legal stuff. But she either gave up her alimony to marry this guy or they're not legally married and they just did a ceremony. So I'm curious to see. A lot of people were commenting that on my post. I did start my post with Archie, hide the keys. Somebody needs to check on Archie, the dog, Shannon's dog. I worry for Shannon's dog because listen, she put him in harm's way the first time she got her, she crashed and the dog was in the car and he was out there. It's not cool to put your children or your dogs in your baloney as an adult and your addictions and your stuff and your drama. So somebody check on Archie. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm sure Shannon doesn't care anymore at this point, but it always stings when your ex, especially if it's public and he sued you and you had to pay him and a girl you know is now marrying him. It's going to sting. You're not going to have a great weekend. I don't care who you are and how big of a person you are. You're just not. So she's not having a great time, but protect Archie at all costs, please. He's so cute. He's like a housewife at this point. Um so yeah, wired headphones are back. The fashion world has declared that wired headphones are back as a fashion statement, as a health concern, and the convenience of not having to charge it. People are wrapping it around their purses and bags and scarves and shirts and whatever, and they're just wired headphones are back. So I don't know where mine are. I got to find them so I can start using them. There's all these articles that the wireless headphones are so bad for your brain, and I believe it. I think I also saw though, obviously if you use it all day, every day, like I do, because I listen to podcasts a lot, um, it's not great. But if you don't use it that much, I think there has to be a really high usage for it to affect you at all. But it's better to be safe than sorry. And now that the wired headphones are back in style, why not? Um, Pink's daughter, I came across this video of Pink on stage with Hugh Jackman and her daughter, and I forgot her name, and she was singing and it was so cute. Now everybody's up in arms, well not everybody, but a lot of people with the whole Charlie Kirk thing. Pink came out and posted apparently some really vile things. And so she has a lot of people hating on her. And I posted the video of her daughter and her singing. Her daughter has a gorgeous voice. I love Pink and I hate social media has kind of ruined celebrities for us because we know too much. I want to know less and just enjoy their talent. I feel like social media, we know reality shows and social media have ruined celebrities and we can't just enjoy them for what they bring us as far as their art. We have to now know their personalities and if they're moody and if they're assholes and if they're whatever. And I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. I want to enjoy and I can compartmentalize. I still love Pink, even though I think what she posted, I don't get it. As a human being, I think it's not great. But I still love her as an artist. I've gone to her concerts. I used to take my daughter to her concerts and I love her songs and her voice and her daughter. I can appreciate the daughter mommy moment regardless. And it was really good. If you haven't seen it, I'd look it up. I don't know what concert it was for, but her daughter sings so beautifully. She's apparently a Broadway singer. And so she'll probably be on Broadway and she looks so talented and so adorable. You should look it up. It's really cute. Um Yeah, so there's this show called Sister Wives. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, you can fast forward, but I I think it's either been a second since it's been on or it's been I don't know. I didn't see the whole last season, but there's this one couple. So Seeking Sister Wives is different than Sister Wives with that guy Cody that's not on Special Forces. That's a different show. Seeking Sister Wives are all about couples, just two people or three. They're already in the polygamous situation or they're trying to get into it and so they're seeking a sister wife. So they call it Sister Wife, which is such a disturbing name. It's such a disturbing title. It's like you're my sister and you also screw my husband. It's so gross. Um it's like a train wreck. I find it so disturbing and disgusting, but I also watch it. I'm only human. It's fascinating to see how people can be so different and just weird to me. So one is the Davis family. It's this black guy. And he has these two white quote unquote wives. He's married legally to one, and then obviously you can only marry one person, so whatever. The other people are just there and they're seeking a third. And I remember in the first and the last season and the season before, they're trying to bring this girl Danielle in. She had a kid already, I think, and bring it in. And she was having issues. Like, she wasn't very comfortable with the situation, and she was back and forth. At some point, she moved out, she moved back in. So she was always iffy on the edge. And last season, I think they, ceremonially got married. And this season started with her being out again. Like, she's out. They broke up, she left, and she couldn't handle it because he wanted to bring even more wives in. Now, it's so gross. This guy in the Davis family, he is a stay at home dad. And the women go to work and support him while he takes care of all these kids that are popping out for him. And they sit there and say, he's the smartest man we've ever met. No, he's not. I mean, he's smart because he's manipulating the shit out of you guys, thinking this is a healthy way to live. And he just wants, I'm sorry. If you're a man and you have a bunch of wives and they say it's all for God's purpose, and it's just like, no, it's not. Just because the Bible had multiple wives back in the day, that's a history book. It's just telling you stories of what happened. There's also, killing and incest or whatever, and that's not biblical either. It's just like stories. You're not supposed to go off the stories. You're supposed to go off the 10 Commandments. People manipulate things to make it so vile. There's no way, this is just my opinion. Obviously, everything I say is just my opinion, but there's no way these women are really into him, because we all know if you're really in love with someone, you're not sharing that person. And just to make the point clearer, he would never be with a woman that had multiple husbands. So that alone tells you it's not whatever they're saying. This is not, they're working. He stays home. He wants another wife. He's like having to, it's just nasty. But so that's the Davis family. And then the most fascinating couple for me that I've enjoyed watching the show, and if it wasn't for them, I probably would never see it, the Merrifield family. And these people live in Colorado, and it's Danielle and Garrick. And Garrick is the creepiest of all. He's one of these Bible thumping, and I'm Christian, and I can tell the difference between wackadoodles and not. And I see things realistically, and I see the Bible as a history book, and I don't like when people dig too much. I think people that dig too much into the Bible get weird, and that's where religion comes in. I see it more like a history book, and you're supposed to follow 10 Commandments. You're not supposed to understand the whole, since beginning of time. What good does that do you? Just like drive you crazy. But he says he keeps trying to get these wives from Brazil. He's like, why Brazil? Why do you need a wife from Brazil? Garrick, you know why? Because you need to manipulate them, and you need them to be passive, and you need them to be the passive surrendered wife, and it's the whole thing. And this couple fascinates me because Danielle, the wife, she was never on board. She was never on board. If you watched the back seasons when this started, she was having breakdowns, and she was so jealous, and she couldn't handle it. And she keeps trying to tell herself that this was their idea. It was never their idea. It was always his. And if she wanted to stay in the mix, she was going to have to get on board. And it was very struggle for her. She had a huge struggle. She would break down on camera all the time. She would laugh, cry. It was fascinating. And they're the reason I watch this show, because their relationship makes no sense. It just makes no sense. She always feels like the third wheel. This current season, she looks like she's adapted more. And I think she's become empowered because the two last Brazilian women he's tried to be with, they both dumped him. So he gave the first one money, and that's when Daniela really had a bad time, and she was so jealous of her. She's like this hot Brazilian, and he's like totally like paying more attention to her, and she's sitting there like the third wheel feeling like crap. And then at the end of the day, he gave her all this money, and when the last check went through, she said, I'm not moving, I'm not coming. And she was probably like, I don't want to be with these freaks. I don't want to be with this psycho third wheel that's not even on board. She has no backbone, and she's like super jealous, and she's pretending to be okay with this. And this guy's a freak, and she's probably like, just give me the money. I already was on TV. Like, give me my money and I'm out. So she left, and then he tries to get another Brazilian, and that one didn't work out. And now he has a third Brazilian. And it's just like, what is happening with the Brazilians? Why can't you find someone in the US? I know why, Garrick, because you're a weirdo and you need someone that's submissive, and you're weird. So I really like this Merrifield family as far as entertainment purposes. They fascinate me because he keeps saying, the wife is like, well, maybe God thinks we shouldn't do this, and he's like, no, 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 that's not what it is. Of course, that's what a freak would say, because they want what they want, and it's not for religious purposes. And anyways, I there's this new couple on here. Wait, what was there? Oh, this guy, the Sherwood family. Ashley and Shane, they've only been married 2 years, and he's so funny. I think this is the one. I think this is the one. He kind of he says everyone thinks he's gay, including his wife's parents, because he's very effeminate and he's looking for a second wife. And it's so interesting. So they're another couple that are fascinating me. The other ones I'm like, whatever. Um, so if you like weird ass shows that are interesting, I would check this out. It's on TLC, Sister Wives, Seeking Sister Wives. Um, yeah, it's great. Dancing with the Stars. It's so good. It's just too long. It's too long of a show, and when you try to watch it like an hour after so you can fast forward, then you can't vote. So it's a double-edged sword. And then you haven't seen the dances yet, so you don't know who to vote for. Anyways, Whitney killed it with the TikTok night, and at the end when that girl from Fifth Harmony was voted off, that was not a good look for her. She was like, I'm pissed, and then she's been crying and making a spectacle of herself. It's like, be a good sport, you know. This is the public. So on one hand, you could feel good that the judges didn't vote you out, right? It's just like a bunch of people that happen to be watching at that time, and maybe you would have got a better vote if whatever the voting system was different. But it wasn't cool. And then Whitney was under fire because the public is so shady and annoying. They tried to make it look, because Whitney, they caught her on camera just happy that she was saved or whatever. And Topanga, Daniela, Fishman, she kind of like let her go and went to console the Fifth Harmony girl. And they made up this conspiracy theory that Whitney was being tone deaf, but that's not what happened at all. Daniela Topanga came out and said, no, that's not what happened. So that was a non-drama. And then Alex Earl's dance was great. Jordan Childs, no one talks about her enough. I feel like the choreography she's getting from her partner is so great, and her dancing is so great. She, to me, is a top dog. Her and Whitney, neck and neck, because she's great. Topanga, I love, but I don't think she's a great dancer. I'm not gonna lie. She's fine. She's okay. Her scores being higher than Jen Affleck is insanity. Jen Affleck is throwing it down much harder and doing so much better. So I don't get it. Again, this is from the judges though too, so they should know better. And yeah, that's it. It's really good. I'm really enjoying this season. Special Forces, I'm in and out. It feels very long as well, and I don't particularly love watching people being tortured and yelled at. So I find that a little difficult. I will say I was seeing a side of Teresa from episode 1 that I liked. Brittany went home like the loser she is. She didn't even try, and Teresa went home the next episode. So she's another loser, and her reasoning for leaving was because they were going to have Gia fight with gloves. Like they're doing this little practice of, just take your aggression out and fighting. And she's like, I can't watch my daughter fight. It's really, that's why you're leaving? Not because you're underwater choking, because of that. That was so stupid and so such a lie. It wasn't true. Like, give me a break. It wasn't even, it was with gloves. I mean, she's not going to get hurt. Um, Then you see Gia talking to the guy about all the pent up frustration she's had over the years, having to grow up too fast because of what happened to her parents. And the guy's like, well, it's a good thing your mom went home. And she's like, no. He's like, yes, it is. You need to let that go and stop babying your mom. You're not their parents. You need to live your own life and let this go. And I thought that was nice. And Gia looks like such a, because on the reality shows, she cops an attitude and she has all the makeup and the wigs and the fake eyelashes. I see her now as herself on Special Forces, and it's like so heartwarming because she looks like little girl Gia, and she looks like someone that needs to strip away all this bullshit she grew up in. And I think this show, I don't know how long she stays on it, but I think it's doing her a lot of service to kind of work through those emotions through physicality and all the stuff that they're doing. The other girl that left too is, oh, what's her name? The black girl that was on America's Next Top Model. And I think she was also on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She left because they discharged her because she had a flip out with the underwater thing, which I wouldn't even do. There's no way. Because that's my biggest fear with the water up and everything. But she had like a panic attack, and then she asked for a timeout after for the next thing, and then they kind of decided she wasn't okay, and they let her go. So we're three down. Oh my gosh, when Jussie Smollett, they call him in because they're doing in this last episode they did kind of one-on-ones to talk about whatever's ailments they have or situations emotional, and they talked about what how he was feeling, and he's like, I think everyone thinks I'm a liar and it's not who I am, and it's like, yes you are. And the fact that you keep doubling down makes you look actually like a psychopath because the jig is up. Everybody knows what happened. You were convicted. Stop it. You're a freaking liar and that didn't happen. He said I was drunk coming from a night out. It's like, no. And the guy even smiled. The guy, the sergeant guy, he even smiled like this guy's such a liar. Oh my god, I can't believe he just won't let it go. And then it came out that Paige from Giggly Squad and from Summer House, she was offered a role in Special Forces and she knew to decline, obviously. Can you imagine Paige on there? She wouldn't last like an hour. Um, who would want to do that show? I would never want to do that show. Just the yelling. The yelling, it's like, stop. I would turn around and be like, is that necessary? No, I'm kidding. I don't like that. I don't see, there's no learning. I mean, why can't they do the drills without the unnecessary berating? They can like berate them in a way that's like military. Calling them ugly and stupid is not, what's the purpose? So anyways, that's Special Forces. I'm in and out of it. I'm not too, and they're not showing like Jesse James Decker and her husband. I haven't seen their faces barely at all. So I don't know what that's about. Okay, so Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban split after 19 years of marriage. I was shocked. I'm not shocked. I'm shocked and I'm not shocked because every time I see her in a new show or film, it's back to back to back. And I'm like, when is she ever home? There's no, I would always think to myself, and this is genuinely true. I would think to myself every time I see her on, I'm like, another show? When are you spending time at home? It seems to me that she's running from her home life because who wants to work that much back to back to back to back? I mean, come on. She's not starting out. She's already an actress. She doesn't have to do so many things in such little time. So, what kind of, if you're already having problems and you're running away, that's not going to fix it all that time apart. And if you're not having problems and you spend that much time apart, you're going to fall apart. Relationships need to have connection. You can't be apart that long. It just, it doesn't work. So that's the part that made me think, okay, well, this makes sense because maybe they were already donezo and she's just like working to fill her time. So they split. There's some cheating rumors, but we don't really know what's going on. And they have two daughters, 17 and 14 years old. And apparently they've been living separate since the beginning of summer. Um, yeah, I don't know. And apparently he wrote a song and he kind of changed the words recently after their separation to insert his guitar player, and it's a girl and her name. People are speculating on that, but who knows what's going on. She made a dig, I think. I think I saw that she said now I can finally wear heels again because he's shorter than her, and I would I think it's safe to say they're not consciously uncoupling. Hollywood is so silly. Nobody uncouples consciously. And if you do, that means you weren't in love, so that's not a good thing. Lori Laughlin and her husband split after 28 years of marriage. Now they're just split and like living apart, but they're not legally filed for divorce yet. So that's up in the air. Sometimes that happens. They can get back together. We don't know. And 28 years, that's a long time. I wonder if the college wire fraud scandal had anything to do with it. because maybe they were solid and then that really broke them. I'd be curious to know. I love her. I've always thought her and, oh my God, what's his name? Is it Jesse from Full House? They're really great friends. And he's married with kids or whatever, but I think they would have been such a good pairing. But obviously, that's just a pipe dream. But she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous, and she'll have no problem finding herself another partner. But yeah, there's Splitsville. Love is Blind season 9. I haven't started. There's too much to watch. There's just too much. I don't have time. So I'm not in the mind frame either to watch it yet. So I will watch that soon. Um, what's her name? Something Stodden, the girl that was a child bride. Something with a C. Chris, I don't know her name. She has a new documentary on Lifetime. I don't have Lifetime, so I can't watch it. But if you're interested, um, I blame her parents. I think that wherever she lived when she met the old guy, her parents signed off from day one. Courtney Stodden. And I saw them on, they had a show, and then they were also on Celebrity Couples Therapy, Stodden, Courtney, and the guy. So she was 16, he was 50. So disgusting. His name was Doug Hutchison, and he was 51, she was 16. It was legal because they were in Vegas and they had parental consent. And absolutely disgusting. How can her parents, how can her dad, her mom, what are you thinking? And they were obviously after money because the guy was some sort of something. And disgusting. She's 16. You're a freaking child at 16. Ew. Anyways, so they were together for a while too. And yeah, even seeing them on that couple Celebrity, it was really disturbing, and her mom, and so weird. So if you want to watch that, I think I know everything there is to know about that situation. So I don't really have any interest in watching it because, you know, but that's on there. The morning show started with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon on Apple. I'm over that show. I don't know. I don't have any interest. I feel like these shows sometimes, I don't know. I haven't I saw episode 1, but I'm not dying to go back and watch the rest. And oh, and now for whatever reason, this is so juicy. Jerry Seinfeld's relationships are coming in the spotlight again for some reason because, back then nobody really talked about this stuff, and that's why all the um Epstein Island stuff and all the, guys got away with murder and older men doing all this stuff to girls, and no one really spoke about it back then in the 90s, 80s. And so now people are talking again about he used to date this girl. He was 39 and she was 17. Shoshana Lonstein, and they dated for 4 years. That is criminal. What? And he's like, she's not an age, she's a human being. It's like, ill, you're disgusting. And then they broke up. And then he claims they started dating when she was 18. Sure, buddy. But they met when she was 17. And it was not a big deal. It was a big deal, but no one made it a big deal back then. So people are now talking about it. And then even juicier is the way he met his current wife at a gym. And she had just gotten married like a few months prior, but her marriage had already imploded in those few months, and she was getting ready to move out and leave that guy. So she met Jerry Seinfeld at the gym, and they hit it off right away. Everything moved super fast, and they got married super quick. So that was interesting. Jerry Seinfeld, who would have thought he would be such a predator? Um, it's just crazy how different times call for different norms, you know? And then, oh, Miami Scream Team. If you live in Miami, there's this new club that they go for yoga in Brickell, and then they scream at the ocean. It's called Miami Scream Team. And it's a movement. I personally, if I'm walking or I'm in the area and I hear a bunch of people screaming, I'm not going to enjoy that. But this is founded by local yoga enthusiast Marissa Cardenas every Wednesday at 7. She meets with yogis at Brickell Market, Margaret Pace Park. And lets people blow off steam by screaming into the ocean. They gather at the park for free yoga, then join a group scream sesh facing the ocean, a deliberate choice to minimize any concerns. I don't. That's annoying. And there's people that live right in the buildings back there. What do you think? Would you like to scream into the ocean? If I'm screaming with a bunch of other people screaming, I don't find that helpful whatsoever. I actually might get a headache. But anyways, it's definitely different if you want to scream, a new way to let out your aggression. Um I just saw that documentary, Murder in Apartment 6. It's called Murder in Apartment 603. So Ellen Greenberg in 2011 was found in her apartment with 20 stab wounds. Her case was officially declared a suicide. So this girl met this guy, and I think her parents lived elsewhere, and then she moved to Philadelphia. Um, they were engaged, and this is the second time. Was the other thing was Karen Reed's case in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania? I feel like these towns, Pennsylvania or Philadelphia, they have really corrupt police, according to his documentaries, because they do a really bad job at the crime scene, and it leaves all these things open ended, and then it's impossible to track back and see what the hell really happened. And this is the second time I see this. It's like, what's happening? He wasn't a cop or anything though, so I don't know why they would cover this for him. And he wasn't related to the police department, the fiance. So basically, the documentary's on Hulu, and it goes down this rabbit hole because he's engaged to her. And one day he's at the apartment, and apparently he went to the gym, and when he got back, he couldn't open the door, and he starts to freak out and calls, I don't know, the building management and then the police, and says they break in, and she's found kind of like sitting against the counter in the kitchen with a knife in her chest, and he didn't even see it when he was on the call with the cops. And they say you have to do compressions on her chest, CPR, and that's when he notices the knife, which is weird because she was stabbed 20 times, so there should be blood everywhere. And he didn't know this at the time, according to everyone. So long story short is they rule it a suicide. So there's no photos, there's no investigation, there's no crime scene cleanup. And because they rule it a suicide and her parents don't even live, I think, close by, they wrap it up, and the parents sent a professional cleaning crew to clean the apartment. And then they go back and say, well, wait, this is not a suicide, it's a murder. And then they switch it back after that. It's the craziest cluster F. I don't understand how they can botch it so bad. That's actually pretty scary. Um, so the parents, all these years later are trying to get it open so they can investigate for real, because they think she was murdered. And obviously, how are you going to stab yourself 20 times, especially in the back, for suicide? And who stabs themselves for suicide in the back and 20 times? So that's so bizarre that it wouldn't even get that way. And it's scary to think professionals would not know how to document and do their work right, so everything is clear and transparent. So that's a documentary I just saw. So I don't know, are they saying that the boyfriend fiance killed her? Um he's remarried with kids apparently, and no one knows. So if it wasn't him, who was it? It's very weird. A lot of open-ended things, and documentaries like this drive me crazy because now I have a million questions. And it's sad to see the mom, that was their only child, her and her husband are fighting this, but they're never going to find out the truth. There's no evidence. They wiped it all, and there's no. Why would he kill her? Apparently she had depression. She suffered from depression. She had a therapist or psychologist that gave her medication, and she was a little different, her friend said. So that part would open the door for her to want to end her life, but at the same time, 20 stab wounds and on your back where she can't reach doesn't make sense. So it's a very interesting open-ended case. So Murder in Apartment 603 on Hulu, if you want to watch that. What is everyone dressing up for Halloween? I used to love to dress up for Halloween, and I've become very lazy since COVID. COVID kind of ruined all the moods, and I got out of the habit, and now I don't know how to get back in. Because before I would just love it, and now I don't know. Are you guys dressing up? When does one stop dressing up? Do we ever stop dressing up? Is there an age that you shouldn't dress up for Halloween? Are we at the age now that we just wear ears and call it a day in a cute t-shirt? I used to go all out. I used to one year I was cotton candy. I bought the cotton candy body spray and I got all this stuff and spray painted it pink and blue and I would make my costumes. It was so fun. Um I love a Halloween party. I love the spooky music and the apples and I love it. I just love Halloween. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. Hopefully, we're going to do our book review next week for The Note, and I'll see you next time. Bye.